Oh, hello. Some of you may be wondering what's going on. I'm on my server. I built a server. Well, I've had a server for a while, but I'm just actually utilizing it now. I am not necessarily starting over like the Forever World. I still will play with that a little bit. It's just that I've been trying to migrate everything over to this server here, which is on an old gaming PC in my basement. Well, I'm in the basement too, so it doesn't really make any sense to say that it's there. But anyway, God, there's so many. Why are you all here? There's only 2 beds, and I'm gonna take one of them. Yeah, the server itself is just an instance of Linux with Fabric Minecraft running on it. So I have all my mods and whatever running on it, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, so I've already started. This is something I was just testing to get up over here. The spawn point's like right on the other side of this. I picked this seed up from one of the seed finder websites that shows some pretty cool stuff. And one of the cool things I dig about this seed is that the cherry blossom forest over here, it kind of jumps over to the other side of this hill, and there's like an abandoned, this is kind of where spawn is, like right around here. But there's this like really awesome abandoned village back here in this kind of little crater between all these icy peak thingies. But I cleared it out, did some stuff over here, got some, you know, some food and stuff, and then I came over here to this village because it's, you know, got actual villagers in it. So one thing I had an issue with in my Forever World is I was running into some problems with the game being weird. Like I would try to make a bubble elevator and it just broke. Like it just wasn't working. So I'm not sure if it was a mod that was in there that I was playing around with that kind of broke stuff, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, so I've got a bunch of crap already. I found here, let's just go look at it, see. I don't know if I need anything else before I go down there. I think I had to wait for food. I'll wait for this last one to pump itself down, and it'll be good. But we have already found, let's just go look. I found, I dug right here. I just pretty much just dug. Did the normal right down until I get to a certain point thing. And way down here I found abandoned mine shaft. So looted the crap out of that. Try not to die. I don't know if I died or not. I don't think I have yet. I might have. I don't know. And then I found a big open caving area down here, which we'll go to in a second. But yeah, the mine shaft is over here. Already kind of looted it, so I mean, there's nothing really too crazy about it. But yeah, it just kind of opens up, and you can see part of this big open area that we're going to go look at in a second. This big open cave that's down here before we just dip straight down and go to where I was mining out all the diamonds and stuff. So yeah, it's up there. That's where that kind of drops out to. But I kind of lit this area up. I didn't do too much mining in here yet. Was really looking for some diamonds, which I only found like one, like right over there with some diamonds and whatever. But yeah, let's go down here. I just kind of zip back around, and I've been digging in this general direction and look for more diamonds because that's what I'm here for. Yeah, that was what my thing was. I was going to do branch mining, but I just decided to dig in circles. Do, you know, well, it's not necessarily a circle, but it's in this pattern, this square pattern, until I find whatever, and then I just keep going. So yeah, that's what I was doing for most of like a day or so ago whenever I got this all situated. I haven't put too much time into the world. Well, yeah, I don't know, I just felt like having something that lives on a server as opposed to just locally on here, because I wanted to be able to automate backups on the world and whatnot, which I will probably be doing soon. Maybe like once a week or something, can automate a backup on it. So yeah, plus I was getting bored with the other world. I don't know, it might just be me. Like getting to a certain point, and then you just kind of get tired of what you're doing in the game. So it is what it is. Yeah, usually don't stream this early in the morning either. I just decided to, because I was going to last night, but I didn't. So yeah, I'm not gonna really do this all day. Not sure what I'm gonna do. Is pretty much just, there goes the interference. Something's being weird. I don't know if it's my phone or not. My phone is gonna be moved over. Old cell phone things. I remember when people used to get text messages, that would be the first thing you would hear was that crackling sound. But yeah, whatevs. Actually, you know what? Let's dig out some of this, this tough. I dig this stuff. I like, that was kind of weird. Yeah, with tough, I like how the blocks look nowadays. Before, just like the plain tough was good for like roads or walkways or pathways, but I like how tough be looking these days when you can make the smooth, tough bricks and whatnot. No, always like that. I think it's a good looking block. So yeah, my plans. I don't know what I really have plans for in this world, really. Might not rush things like I did with the other one, even though I said that with the other one and did it anyway. Who knows? We'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Not too worried about it regardless. So I was supposed to put the Forever World on a server before I started it, but I kind of had an issue with the device. I had to migrate a bunch of stuff over. So I have Proxmox cluster running on 3 old, like I call them the doctor's office computers, the ones that like mount behind. They're like little tiny mini PCs. I bought a bunch of those off of eBay a while ago, and well, over time, I didn't buy all of them at once, but I did get them like one at a time whenever they were like really good deal. Because some people will see a video on the internet and be like, oh, this guy just made a video of these items and I'm going to go buy them all up and then resell them for like, you know, like 20-40% higher than what they're actually worth. So I mean, you find the same ones now for like $300, and it's like, no, that thing's worth like significantly less. I think I paid maybe like $60 to $70 per for like a decent one, like i7s, you know, that had decent RAM in them. So they were on sale. It's like, or not on sale, I wouldn't say they were on sale. It was more of like somebody was selling them for what they're worth, just trying to get rid of them, and then somebody came in and scalped them, and I think scalping is ridiculous. Like when people come in and resell stuff so nobody can have anything cool. And it started with like Starbucks cups and then went to Stanley water thermals and tumblers and whatnot. I mean, it's kind of stupid, but you know. But what am I gonna do here? What if I should zip around the other way? I want to find more diamonds. Yeah, not really sure what I'm gonna do. I'm just probably going to just dig more. I don't know, and rant about stuff, I guess. I don't know what to, I'm gonna have a lot to rant about, but it's just, I want it to be not like something that's depressing. I just want it to be like ranting about, you know, stuff that people can relate to, but not something that's going to cause someone to have a panic attack. Because I suffer from anxiety and I get panics. I get panic episodes, if you will. If that's what you want to call them. I want to, let's just kind of break away from that real quick. So one thing I want to do is my skin. So my skin, I like my skin, my character. Oops, place that over there. It's gonna be interesting to get. There you go, got it. My skin from this character is from one of the skin creating sites. I can't remember what it's called, like in Minecraft skins or whatever. And I just essentially copied the one that I had from Bedrock that I got for whatever from their creation shop, where they rig it and make you pay for stuff instead of using it, or instead of just making your own like they had back in the day. Because I was transitioning between Bedrock on Xbox and to Java Edition on my old gaming PC, which is now the server that we're playing on. And I want to change it up. Just have a variation, you know. A lot of people have the suit jackets with the tie and whatnot, and I think it's kind of goofy. So I might I have an idea of what I want to do with it. As right now I bought some shirts recently because I'm a tall dude. I'm like 6'7", almost 6'8". I'm a big tall guy, and I'm not a skinny guy per se. I was when I was a teenager, like in my 20s, but you know, anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. I buy my shirts based off the internet, and I have to get extra long shirts because I'm so tall, and pre-shrunk t-shirts so they don't shrink when I dry them. And what I ended up doing was I went on this website I normally go on to, and I bought some shirts. And what it was is they had some really nice striped shirts, like horizontally striped. And the one that I enjoyed the most was their gold and black one. So it looks pretty cool. They're very thin stripes. I think I'm looking down at it now. They're maybe like 1.5 to 2 inch stripes on the shirt. And I don't know, I thought that color would look pretty cool. So I'm thinking about playing around with that later. So I might have a new skin for my dude here soon. It'll probably be similar to how I'm wearing my shirt now. I have an undershirt on. I have a very thin, it's like an athletic sweater. It's not really a sweater. It's like just a long sleeved hoodie. It's not a zip up, so it's very thin. And I usually use it when it's not necessarily good at blocking the wind, but I use it when I don't want to wear like a proper zip up hoodie. And I'm wearing that over my undershirt, and then I'm wearing the gold and black shirt over that. So I'm thinking of having like the black long sleeve on my skin character with like the hood kind of falling in the back, and then just the gold and black t-shirt over the top of it, kind of like on the outside layer. I don't know, we'll figure it out. I like playing with the skin creator. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's probably what I'm going to be doing at some point this week. Yeah, fun stuff. So I'm not finding anything going in this direction. I did find quite a bit of diamonds here before. I should probably put all this back on. But it looks like it's not being very lucrative anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna find something soon. I mean, -40, I think that's good. I don't know, to be honest. I just go down to like almost bedrock. We're almost at bedrock. Well, actually, no, 64. That's right. I'm like 20 something blocks below. Maybe I'll start digging lower. Let's go back. Hit the wrong button. Let's go back and start going down by one, kind of making steps until we get down super low. Let me just clear it out. Very ominous. Hopefully those guys survive up there because I'm not running back upstairs to sleep. But yeah, I'm guessing like what I'm going to be discussing on streams from now on would be typically, I want to make it, I labeled this as like a cozy ranting stream, cozy rants. And that's what it is, you know. I just want it to be like, you know, I have the lo-fi music playing, which I dig. I love lo-fi music. It's very calming. and just talk about stuff, you know. But I don't want to go into anything crazy that, you know, is stressing the world out, because, you know, that's just where we are right now with everything. And I guess more of what I want to discuss on stream, or just like rant about, because right now I'm like, again, I'm just talking to myself, but is, you know, just things like maybe book stuff. I'm reading a book. I'm, you know, ranting about what's going on in the book, you know, discuss things about other books and learn what other people are reading at some point, obviously, when people are, you know, commenting and whatnot. So I guess I'll just go from there and just start out with like discussing things that are, you know, and, you know, I mean, one thing I was thinking about too is rants don't necessarily have to be about negative topics. I mean, you can rant about how good something is. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of what it is. It's non-negative, you know, cozy rants or positive. I guess you could just always associate cozy with being positive. I don't know. But I guess that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm on about, is that I want to be able to just kind of have like an ASMR type, you know, I'm mining something and trying to just talk, keep talking, you know, have something to say at all times about anything. It could be about anything, you know. But I do like the idea of having my own server. I think that's really awesome because, one, it's local. I'm not storing anything on the cloud, which means I don't have to pay for anything except for just the electricity that's in my basement, which is not a lot. I mean, it's not really doing much. I'm running like a Linux Ubuntu server, so it's very minimal power consumption. Actually, I might have actually put desktop on there. I'm not sure, but I'm not running. It's not a lot. There's not a lot of power coming off of that box. So, but anyway, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it snowed where I live. That's always cool. That's another reason why I kind of picked this this seed as well for the server. It's because it's snowy, and it's kind of like, that's the vibe I'm kind of going for, is like a snow vibe, you know, because I like it when it snows. I like, well, okay, let's say this. I like when I'm inside of a building in a a element controlled building. So there's no, you know, like I'm in a building that doesn't have AC or heating, you know, I'm not like burning up, but it's like a nice crisp 65 to 70 degrees all day long. And I'm cozy in the house, like drinking coffee and just watching the snow. I love that. And it has snowed recently where I'm at, in my neck of the woods here. And I got to do that over the last day or so. Was just sit and actually have some coffee and just watch it snow all day, which was amazing. I really enjoyed it. So that's kind of what I'm going with here. I might end up moving starter home, or, you know, whatever, up higher. That way it actually snows. You know what I mean? Like it'll be snowing and I could just kind of chill inside and, you know, do stuff in there. You know what I mean? So I don't know, that's just a plan I had with this one. That's kind of why I picked the snowy mountaintops, the biome. So yeah, I did the little early just find a village and just kind of take it over until whatever, and I probably will end up like terraforming around and whatnot to make the village a little bit more safe, so I can, you know, have the villagers just walking around whenever they want. Obviously they'll sleep, but, you know, I just, who knows, it could be nighttime and some zombie could be busting in and killing everybody up there right now. I'm gonna go up and everyone's gonna be zombified. So And the cool thing is too, they have this like massive, I don't know if this is a newer type of building, a new style building that the game's had for a while, but there was, or there is, not technically was, because it's still there, a building that has a lot of bookshelves in it, and there's like a double lectern, so it seems to be like a library, that's different from the ones that I'm used to seeing, because I don't know, I haven't really seen one in a long time. Some of the older versions of Minecraft, so who knows. Yeah, so anyway, that's pretty cool. Let's see. So I'm not getting lucky at all with this. Usually dig out and find something. I don't want to go too deep into this, but I need to get the rest of I need to get the rest of the gear for my diamond get up for sure, and maybe enough for an enchanting table, because I am going to enchant stuff. I mean, nobody likes digging with unenchanted tools, especially stuff that doesn't have mending on it, because I don't know, it just sucks having to, you know, you spend an entire pickaxe just to find 3 diamonds digging through deep slate, and I don't like that. You know, I like finding all my diamonds when I do a massive project, when I can fly away. I don't know why I just did that. I'm gonna tear them down. When I could just take off and go repair it and come back. And see, that's what it always is. That's the justification I give myself whenever I end up just like speed running over the course of like 2 days and just getting everything. So I'm like tired of feeling like I'm wasting all my resources. So I guess it's understandable in some aspects, but whatevs. Yeah, this is actually getting a little tedious. I might go upstairs and start scouting an area for the house and coming up with like a path to get up, because that's one thing I want to do. I want to be better at building paths as well. So yeah, I think I'm going to put that there, and then let's head back and sleep. Let's see if everybody's still alive up there. I'm gonna probably put stairs in here too at some point, because this sucks doing this. Hoppity hoppity hop. Yeah. So, ooh, look at this. I'm not paying attention. I don't really know why I need gold. I mean, the only real uses for it are, you know, not getting beaten up in the nether and upgrading some gear. All right, there we go. And again, I adjusted my microphone again, so I mean, it's in the same general area, but it's like maybe 6 inches above my left hand where WASD is, yeah. And I can't, I mean, I'm monitoring my headphones before it hits OBS, so directly from my Rodecaster, and I hear like the clicking is very loud in my head, but in playbacks it doesn't sound like that, so might be stressing myself out a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and get this prepped for stairs. Might as well. They will probably build a bunch of the deep slate stairs like I did before in the Forever World. But I do have a very loud keyboard. It's not as loud as it could be. And like I said, I mentioned before, I have the purple keys, the Razer with the purple keys, the optical keys. So they're kind of clicky, but they're not like exploding every time I hit a key. And it's probably actually a little easier. If I accidentally go through 2, then if I accidentally go through 2, I'm going to stop and put the thing in. If I accidentally go through 2, that's fine, because it's just the next one up. Okay. much up here. Let me get the dirt. Dirt. It's still raining. So I still never figured out what that bug was. I mean, I figured out what was causing it. Like if you have an adjacent biome that's raining, and you go to the adjacent biome, or if you have a biome that's raining and you go to the adjacent biome, it will essentially break. Like it just sits there waiting for you to return to the other biome that actually has the rain in it before the game will like stop it from, before it'll stop it from like actually raining all over. You know what I mean? Like it'll be dark and be like, okay, well, it's stuck. What's going on? Like the time's not all right, sir, you need to back off, man. You're pushing me into a wall here. I don't want to buy your armor. Anyway, so it was just very weird. So I don't know what caused it, or if it was fixed by any means. I don't know. I'm just like, all right, whatever. It's doing that. And one way that I fixed it was just using a console command to clear the weather and just called it good. All right, so it looks like nobody was blown away up here, which is nice. Anyway, yeah, I'm thinking about doing something with that. That's what I'm thinking about doing. I don't know how I'm going to build, like maybe up this way, then around here, then back up this way to go up. And it's going to look like some weird stuff from like Skyrim, I'm assuming, just based off of like stuff. I don't know what I'm basing it off of, but it reminds me of the beginning of Skyrim when you go to that first dungeon that they put you in. So but yeah, speaking of dungeons, I'm almost done with the Dungeon Crawler Carl book. I thought that's something cool to talk about. That was something I've been putting a lot of time into. I think I read like almost 100 pages a day, and I'm essentially down to the last couple pages. I was gonna finish it last night, but it was like 11:50, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to bed. Plus the new one's coming today, so I could probably finish the new, or the Dungeon Crawler Carl 1 in time for the second book, which should be here today. So, but I'm really enjoying kind of following along, reading it with the audiobook. Again, I'd mentioned that before, that I have to do that in order to kind of trick the ADHD side of my brain into not thinking about everything else out of the world when I'm reading. So I keep myself very into the story, and it works wonders. I don't think I've ever been able to finish books without that method. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I really enjoy the story of that book. It's great. So I'm very excited for the next one to show up. We made it. All right, cool. So the next bit of this is going to be kind of a pain. Well, not the next bit, because it's technically the next bit, and it's not. It's just a single. I didn't actually break this one down, so it might be kind of odd. Like push it back by one. We'll see. Worst case scenarios, I'll just redo it. Yeah, it's fine. We'll just do this. So yeah, I really enjoy that book. It's awesome. It's one that's just like kind of, I just went full deep into it. Like I couldn't put it down, essentially. Like some books I'll be like, all right, yeah, I can totally finish this tomorrow. I'm kind of over it. But this one, it was just like, nah, I'm gonna be reading this book for some time, because it is a good one, and I'm gonna put a lot of effort into finishing it, because I enjoy it a lot. This is the bit I was talking about. I'm gonna be going through 3. Should have enough though. I do miss bubble elevators though. Technically I could probably just dig straight down, use cheaty cam a little bit to make sure that I'm not going to fall in anything weird, and at least make a like a drop from like here with like a water bucket stop for it. All right, cool. There's that. What I'm going to do here is I'm gonna level this out a little bit. That's gonna have to go back by 1. There we go. I'm gonna have to do it by 1 more. Maybe this 1 more. There we go. It's gonna fall too. Put that there. Don't know why there's 3 here. That's not necessary. I think I did that just because I was just making sure. Yeah, just kind of digging this back a little bit so I can just run off to the side and come back the other direction. I might do this every couple floors just to make a really easy path down, like, you know, just right here. You know, make 1 3 high or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? That way I can dig straight this way. All good, you know. Anyway, I get the idea. So that might be something I do. That way I could just have, like, you know, layer here, next layer down, then that last one, just to kind of cover everything from 40 down, -40 to -64 or 5, whatever it is. Okay. All right, so we're done there. I'm going to open this up a touch. Anyway, it's level. Still need to light some stuff up over here. You can see there's these jerks over here. I forgot what my zoom button was. C? Nope. There it is. It's B. So you can see these jerks up there. I haven't lit up. Below here too, it's just interesting. Come down here. I don't think anything's gonna fall on us. But I gotta be careful. We have all this crap. So there were a bunch of mobs down here that were falling and setting that off. So this is probably not a very safe place to be when it wasn't lit up, but it was really bad. Yeah, so let's come back up here because I don't feel like getting blown up. Also up here, there's some stuff up here I lit up. I still have to go back and re-light up some areas that aren't entirely lit up correctly. I wouldn't say correctly, actually, when I think about it, just not adequately enough. So, oh, it's nighttime. Very dangerous. Get my sword. Come on. I think we get too much. Everyone's going to bed. All right, let's. Yeah, let me sleep here. I don't know. Everyone's tracking to those 2 beds. All right, yeah, guys, get out of the way. I gotta move all my stuff. This is just getting outrageous for these jerks. Let's put that in there. Let's get some more stuff to smelt. Hang on, blocks, bars, not blocks, bars. Tough can go there. Okay, so, what is there to do besides planning? I guess I don't know. I'm gonna have to build the path before I build the starter base. I might build it in the wall, actually. I usually tend to do that. Just because I suck at building. Well, my starter house from the Forever World I thought was pretty cool. Well, no, not the starter house. The first one that I built sucked because it never had a roof. But the one that was on the water was pretty sweet. I liked the aesthetics of that, because I think I pretty much just kind of went all for it and just did it, and it looked pretty good. Here's my source of food. I got lucky. This place had tons of cows already, so instead of just kind of killing all the cows in the area, I went and just got a bunch of wheat for these guys, and then I went and just wrangled the cows up that were already here, and then just bred them and keep doing that over and over again, you know. And here we are. Come and get it, cows. Come on. Alright. Can't be putting these down. In order to take these out of my hand when I'm feeding cows. My cow crushers I always build have like this, just like kind of in the corner because I accidentally placed one, because those are always in my hand, offhand. So yeah, I'm sniffing a lot. Sorry, I have very terrible allergies, and because it's cold outside. Because it's cold outside, I am have a stuffy nose. So yeah, that sucks, but you know, it's what it is. What's in this barrel? Nothing in the barrel. It's just there for the fishermen. So let's go look at that double library right here. Notice how I no longer say library or tamari. So yeah, it was kind of like a double lectern thingy, but there aren't any, none of the villagers have associated or like connected to those. Oh yeah, I lit this up too, by the way. There was some mob farm back there. So I went through and lit that up. Yeah, so that's a cool little farm. This dude just will not get off the roof. He's been sitting here staring at this and just will not get off of this. I don't know if it's because he just got stuck. There, dude, you have a path now. You can leave. Everything is okay. So, but yeah, it's not too much going on. I mean, this is probably going to be kind of one of those more boring streams because it's still kind of early game. There, perfect. It looks great. A lot of mining, a lot of planning, I guess. Still got to figure out this path issue. It's going to be boring, like a boring path. I'm not going to go all crazy and make it look all labyrinth, but it's just going to be steps. Like we did downstairs to get to a certain point, and then I'm going to build through the mountain. Just one block, and that sheep. All right, sheep, get out of there. What are you doing? Sheep. So let's hop up here for this guy real quick. See, I guess I'm gonna follow this path, and it's already set up there, and just kind of dig one block up until right about here, and then maybe come up, and then to the right, and then to the left, and then just kind of one block it until like maybe over here, and then just have the house be like right here in this section. Not sure. I don't want to do too much to the terrain just because I like it a lot. And there, oh, emerald. Look at that. This is really cool. A lot of resources up here. If I do break it, I'm gonna wait until later in the game when I get silk touch, so I can actually have stone and not waste a bunch of resources. But I think it'll look pretty sweet over here. I'm just gonna get a roundabout thing and make the entire inside of this like a base, like 3, 4, 5 high ceiling, like hollow out the entirety of this and just put in like every once in a while some like pillars to make it look like it's supporting stuff. Use cheaty cam for a second. I know it's cheaty, but whatever. Yeah, so it's pretty open, or not open, that's the wrong word. It's not open. That's what I want though. I don't want there to be like these all over the place where I have to build it. So that looks pretty cool. I dig that. Yeah, so that's the plan, I guess. I'm gonna go with that. Call it good, see how that works. So from there, I need to build up to that. And that will happen soon. Because I don't want to just be living in that little tiny crap house at the bottom forever. So let's see, the cows are doing good. I'm going to be building some stairs up this way. I'm going to build them first coming up this direction. I'm going to replace all these path blocks. Like right here, 3. Maybe put some dirt on the side. I might actually come farther and just dig it through this. Make like a tunnel or something. But I mean, it kind of perfectly dips down to where the house is already. That way I can just have a place to get up there, and I'll just kind of live there forever. Call it a day with that house, or with that build. So yeah, I really don't have much else to do on this besides mining, so we might just go back down and do that for a little bit while rant about some more stuff. I mean, unfortunately, like the world we live in these days, like the only things that are rantable right now that aren't negative, or most of them are negative, because unfortunately it's just how we kind of are right now. But I'm going to try to avoid it to the best of my ability. Just talk about stuff. How about that? How about that Amazon delivery times? That's something I can rant about. Like, there's always like the two-day deliveries and whatnot, and then I'll order something and it'll just sit for like a week and it doesn't move. And it's like, okay, let's get this moving, and it doesn't move, and it doesn't move. And you're like, okay, well, what's going on? What's going on with this? Why is it taking forever? And then it's late, and then it shows up because no, the village. I was wondering what was moving. I'm not touching anything. I'm adjusting. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't care that it got here late. Let's just not make promises. You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing that kind of makes me a little irritable. Is they're like 2 days guaranteed, and it's like, cool. You know, you guys give us free shipping because they pay like $150 a year for, you know, the service. So I don't know. I can't really rant too much about that, I guess. You know, it is what it is. I'm not excuse me, I'm not too stressed about it. I got coffee left. Oh, I love coffee. I'm a weird person when it comes to coffee too. I love coffee a lot. It's like one of my favorite things ever. And I have my coffee with, this is going to get annoying quick. At least I already fixed the other one, so I'm going to be digging that on the way down for at least this bit. But anyway, with my coffee, I love like good coffees. Like, I'm not a Folgers guy or like a U-Bon or whatever it's called, U-Ban, or I don't know what it's called. I don't like that coffee. That coffee is not great. They can source their beans from wherever they say they source them from. But if you roast those things incorrectly, or if you do not store them correctly, you have failed dramatically, and it shows. And I cannot stand coffee like that. And there's places I avoid their coffee. Like, I'm not a big fan of going to IHOP because I'm not a big fan of chain restaurants, just because they don't pay their employees very well, and they rely on tips, which is another issue that we have here, which I think that food servers should just get paid a flat fee. The other thing, like, it's just gonna like go up to me thinking that I think CEOs get paid way too much for what they do. So I mean, that's essentially just low-key what that argument's about. It just trickles down to the employees and then to the consumers. So anyways, coffee, like, I'm a big fan of, and I'm biased here with this opinion because my wife is from Central America, and the country she is from produces very good coffee. And I've had coffee there, and I've had the coffee beans from that specific place here. And it's one of those situations where it's like, people will say, I got these beans from this country, but then they let them sit and they get dry and they get stale and the oils dry up, and then the coffee does not taste good anymore. And it's like, just because you get the coffee from there doesn't mean that it's good. Like, you got to do it right. You can't have them sitting for, you know, a year and a half, and then somebody orders a coffee and they're like, they want that one, and then it just tastes like trash because they messed it up. So, but yeah, I'm a coffee snob, I guess. Granted, I will drink just regular drip coffee. I mean, that's kind of like the go-to. Big fan of pour over. I have like my little glass pour over thingy, and I, you know, measure it out, make sure the coffee's the right temperature, and just go for it. I like that method the most. It's just a little bit more time consuming. I might actually start doing that, actually, just to kind of have more control over what I'm doing. But I use half and half in my coffee. I'll take milk if it's there, but half and half's like the way to go. And I don't use regular granulated sugar. I use coconut palm sugar. Hear me out. It has just this, it has a unique flavor when it comes to, whenever it's dissolved into the coffee in the half and half. So when you have your coffee and your milk, or your half and half, your dairy products, right? Hopefully not butter. I don't know if people do that, but I've had half and half that's just tasted like pouring butter in my coffee, and it's just very weird. I mean, they're very close, but anyway, so lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Coconut palm sugar. So I switched to that because, like I said, I don't really eat in the morning. So what I ended up doing was looking at sugars that had a lower GI index. Oh, glycemic index, a lower GI number. And coconut palm sugar has I don't know if it's lower or higher. It was better. Essentially what it does is that it doesn't spike my insulin like regular table sugar does. And I'm not diabetic, so it's not anything related to that. Finally found some diamonds. It's more of just, I don't like eating, and I will usually eat around noon, but I don't also like feeling shaky and terrible because I didn't eat. So that's kind of where that came from. And also the taste is like, it takes some getting used to if you've had it with just regular sugar forever, but once you have it, unless if you get a really specialty coffee that just kind of like the tone of the coffee flavor isn't supposed to be sitting on the fact that you've pumped a ton of sugar into it. More nice. Like if it's like a dulce de leche latte or something like that, which is again one of my favorites. Like the flavor is more around the sweetener, which is, you know, dulce de leche, which is caramelized sweetened condensed milk, I believe. Don't quote me on that. So what, it has a very unique flavor when you just have it with coffee and like a dairy product. And the one thing that I enjoy the most is, well, I would say I enjoy the most. The one thing that I enjoyed the most about learning that's actually a thing is that I've usually compared. Once I found this out, I'm like, yeah, that's what it was. That's what the flavor is that I didn't know what it was. That it felt like, it was like, I was reading a book with my wife called The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina. And one of the characters, she is from Ecuador. I really hope that's where she's from. It might be another one of the South American countries that I don't remember, but I believe she's from Ecuador. And she mixed brown sugar in coffee in the book. And I'm like, that's a very interesting cultural thing that I've always thought about it, but I was just like, it's not a norm here in the States. So when I heard that, you know, my wife, so how we did it was we read the books together, but we would read it separately. So at the same night, we would read a chapter or two, and then we would discuss it the next day over coffee, which is amazing. If you have a significant other, I would highly recommend like the book club kind of setup like that. It is amazing. It just lets you draw upon conclusions differently with someone and see like a different viewpoint of something that you both kind of witnessed from a different lens. So it's amazing. I suggest it. Anyway, so I talked to my wife about it. I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's what my coffee reminds me of. You know, like the coconut palm sugar that I use, it has like a molassesy kind of taste to it, and that's why it makes it taste so interesting. So I'm like, that's awesome. I now have like a comparison to bring up whenever I'm talking about, you know, the coconut palm sugar that I use in my coffee. So it has a very unique flavor. I enjoy it very much. It was kind of hard to get used to, but once I got used to it, it was just like, I've had to switch back to regular sugar before because the store was out of the coconut palm sugar that I got, because I like the specific brand. I can't remember what it's called, but you know, regardless, it is what it is. I switched back and I was just like, it's not the same, something's missing. I mean, if you think of it, like I've heard food analogy where it's been compared with like musical notes, right? So if you think of like your root note, your third and your fifth, right, to make a chord. So like your root note would be your coffee, right? And then your milk would be your third, and then the sugar would be your fifth. So think of it as like a seventh on top of that, right? And that's what the flavor of the additional like flavor from the sugar comes from. Same thing with like a dulce de leche latte or like a white chocolate, you know, latte, right? Where that fourth note being thrown in there to make, you know, whatever, you know, major seventh or minor seventh, whatever. I'd say majors because you're happy you're not getting that sad sensation from a minor chord. Is that additional flavor? You know what I mean? That different note of flavor that you get if it's, you know, dulce de leche, if it's white mocha, not white mocha, I'm sorry, white chocolate, or if it's, you know, the different flavors within a coconut palm sugar or brown sugar, like a molassesy type of flavor. I don't know, that just hits different for me. Like it's very good. So that right there is just like, I'm gonna take another sip of my coffee just because I'm talking about it so much. Oh my god, that is amazing. So yeah, and the one thing I do is, I gotta be careful with this one, this break. Let's go back upstairs. So for me, like the coffee grounds, the coffee that I get, and if I'm really feeling lazy and not really going into a lot of grinding myself, which I usually would do. Oh man, I can't do that. I'll break this thing. What I will do is I will buy pre-grounded coffee, but I drink it usually pretty quick. So if I can't find a roaster locally, which before the pandemic happened where I live, there was a decent amount of coffee shops that roasted their own beans that they sourced from all around the world. And that made me happy. Oh my god, they're gonna have a baby. There's not enough beds for the babies. You guys need to really chill with that. Where was I? Anyway, so yeah, they had a lot of places that had their own oh my god, I lost my train of thought. They roasted their own beans. They had their own roasters like right out front. So you walk in and you get hit with that amazing aroma of roasted coffee, like freshly roasted coffee. And you could buy beans from them. So I'd buy beans from these places, from like, you know, Colombia and, you know, Brazil and stuff like that. Costa Rica and like Guatemala and stuff like that. Those are like the best, in my opinion. Those four are like top tier coffee beans, regardless of like where you get them from, as long as they're fresh and not like stale and not like stored incorrectly and stuff. So, and nobody can see this, my hands are like up in the air. I'm just like hands up, apparently, not hands down. But those are just like the best beans. And again, I am very what's the word I'm looking for, biased, because my wife is from one of those countries, Central South American countries. So if I can't get those, I will usually go for the Starbucks Colombian already ground coffee beans. Those ones they're okay. You know, I said the forbidden word of Starbucks, you know, pre-ground coffee. But again, I mean, it's hard to find places that can stay open that don't, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not necessarily that they just don't thrive because people don't, I mean, people are just so easy to just hop to Starbucks and get coffee. So I don't know. I just, their coffee is amazing. I remember I used to go into this one place near where I lived to pick up coffee beans, and every time you'd buy a pack of beans, they give you free drip coffee, like a free little 12-ounce drip coffee. And I'm just like, that's awesome. And you get to pick, you know, well, usually it was like they would come in and, you know, there'd be like whatever the coffee of the day was that they were brewing. You know, they would use different beans and stuff, but all their beans were amazing. So I loved that place until it shut, and I was very sad when it shut down. Boots or helmet? Let's do boots. All right, so let's get these guys off, put those on. Now I got some really fancy pants here, fancy feet, fancy boots. I need to build an anvil. So I don't even know if I have enough. There might be one here. No, there isn't, because that's not how this place works. Let's do this. Let's just do all that. Build one of these. And put all my iron back in here. But yeah, there's this place near where I live too. That's where my wife and I go usually for our let's discuss. That's not a lot. It's bad. It's very bad. This sucks. I'm gonna do some more iron and save this so I don't break this guy. I'm not gonna waste diamonds on that. So there's this coffee place my wife and I go to that we enjoy a lot. And I don't want to say the name of it because it'll kind of dox myself, but it's very good. And they have Mexican coffee, so beans that are sourced from Mexico and different locations around the world, obviously, but that's kind of like their showcase there, which is great because it's hard to find beans that are sourced from there, because it's kind of the concept is that it's like, why people would here in the US would be like, unless if it's specialty, they would be like, why do I need to source somewhere from here if I can just get these other 5 that are like buzzwords for people that aren't really hip on, you know, what exactly it is that they're buying, if that makes sense. So for me it was like, yeah, I'm gonna go there and try this out, because again, I'm a coffee snob, so I want to see what this is all about. And then we would show up and it would be like, oh yeah, this coffee's great. And then they would prepare it for you like a traditionally in, like, you know, certain parts of Mexico. You know, I'm not going to say all, because again, that's not how things work. You don't just, you know, have one place that speaks for everywhere. So I gotta actually find out, like, specifically if it's somewhere that's pretty, you know, common, you know, amongst the entire country itself. So anyway, so yeah, it's very good. Like, we go there all the time because they do like the caramelized milk in the coffee, which is very unique flavor, which I love as well. So I mean, it's great. I don't know, I'm a very nerdy dude for learning other countries' cultures, learning all kinds of crazy stuff about what other countries do and how they do things, and like why stuff is so amazing sometimes. And I just like, I am a nerd for that. I love it, and I love embracing other stuff like that. I'm never gonna change my thoughts on how that works either, just because there's no reason not to. Let's see, I'm gonna build 2 of these guys so I have enough. I don't know when the next time I'm gonna find diamonds is. It already took me forever to get it. What we looking like? Definitely not gonna wait for this. So Anyway, yeah, my coffee is amazing. I guess that's what I'm saying. I gotta keep it hot too. Like that's one thing. I'm a big fan of like I'll drink an iced coffee, don't get me wrong. Like cold brew, great, I love it. But like if you have a coffee that you've made that was supposed to be at a certain temperature and you let it cool down, for some reason to me that just it does not, it's not good. I'm gonna go ahead and do this while I'm here so I can rant more about this before we get down there. Like cooled down coffee that was originally prepared hot it's just weird. Plus sometimes I feel like the milk goes bad, the dairy, and it goes bad if it sits out too long. But one thing that I have been doing is I have been heating, because before I'd wake up in the morning and I wouldn't steam anything because I have an espresso maker as well, like a little cheesy, the cheapest one you can get. It's like the one that's got like 30,000 reviews on Amazon, but I bought it at like Target or something. But it's just I'm not trying to get one of those like industrial ones that are like 10 grand. That's just ridiculous. But I have a little steamy guy on the side of it. So one of the things that you can use to steam your dairy on your in your little cup thingy that you get. So instead of just dropping it, because what I'll do is I usually will take my half and half and I'll just put it in the little stainless steel cup that you use for steaming stuff, and I will put it in there and just kind of leave it out until I'll just leave it out until I feel it's, a little room temperature. Kind of pour it out before I start making my coffee. And from there, it's like, I will just kind of go for it, right? If usually it cools my coffee down way too much. So my coffee's not like super hot anymore. And that makes me very sad. And I'm like, I just kind of rushed it a little bit too much today. So, what I started doing recently is I will put the half and half inside the cup, so just like up to the bottom, and I won't steam it because it's just like a little bit too much effort. And I'll get like a little glass Tupperware dish and have it in the sink, and I'll have hot water from my sink pouring into that, and I'll just sit the milk or the half and half in the little stainless steel cup inside of the hot water, so it's kind of like it just heats it up, right? But I'll stir the milk inside or the half and half inside, and within like a minute, let's get more. Yes, that's a pickaxe right there. Anyway, so it'll heat it up like faster than waiting for the steam part of the espresso maker to kick in, and then it's not all frothy and all that stuff, which I don't mind. It's just I'm also into getting my coffee as fast as possible without, sacrificing taste. So it's a situation where it's like, let's get this as fast as possible without screwing stuff up. So I did that this morning. I'm like, yeah, coffee was hot. It was like, it stayed hot. I primed my thermos or my Yeti tumbler by when I rinse it out in the morning, I will how do you say, I rinse it with the same hot water. I just let it sit there, and then the inside of it gets super hot, and so whenever I pour the coffee into it, it doesn't regulate, like the temperature doesn't go like try to equalize as much as if you were to have that ice cold, and then they would just kind of like balance each other out. The heat dispersion or whatever it's called. It's some kind of physics term that I can't remember what it is. And it works great. And then same concept with the milk in the stainless steel cup. It just pulls the cold from the cup, and then because it's still circulating hot water through, because the sink is on whenever I'm doing all of this, it still runs. It's just continuously replenishing the hot water, and the cold water gets pushed over the edge of the glass Tupperware dish. So it's heat transfer essentially, and they use it to like thaw like food out and stuff too better. I do the same thing when I'm like Like I obviously don't use hot water. It's more like room temp water to bring the food up to room temperature as opposed to like as hot as possible. But yeah, it works. It works great. Coffee tastes amazing. So, but yeah, I love my coffee. I'm crazy for that stuff. I don't drink too much though. Too much is not necessarily bad for you, more than it's like, you know, just the caffeine intake. Plus the, you know, caffeine's like was a diuretic or one of the ones. I'm not sure if it's that or the sugar, but you know, both together, you gotta make sure you stay hydrated and, you know, replenish your liquids. But then that becomes problematic. You don't want to drink too much water because then you'll flush electrolytes if you're not replenishing those as well. It's a balance. It's one of those things. Again, you know. Okay, got a couple diamonds. It's enough for another pickaxe, but I'm gonna go through and nuke out the rest of these iron picks. One thing that would be cool that I wish they would implement into this game, which they probably have mods for, but I'm not going to install like super crazy game-changing mods like that. I like the quality of life mods more to keep it, oh, let's keep it as vanilla as possible type thing. If they had like carbon, you know what I mean? Like you could take like charcoal or something, some like really carbon dense material and make steel, you know, like steel pickaxe. I don't know why that was never implemented, but then they did copper, and it's like, well, let's move to the steel age here, you know, let's do something crazy. So, but yeah, let's see, I got 2 more of these. I'm not sure what the durability is on these. I'm gonna be adjusting again. I've been stretching every day. Let's rant about that in a second. But I'm not sure how long these last for, but I'm going to go through the rest of these. I might finish my rant before then, but I've been stretching in the mornings. That's something that I have not done since I was a teenager. Actually, take it back. I never really did stretches besides like, you know, like on a consistent basis. When I was in high school, it was like, go stretch when you're in, you know, PE, and it's like, or gym, whatever people call it nowadays. But my hamstrings are super tight, like really tight. Like I can't bend forward very well because it hurts like a lot. So I've been like trying to find a good stretching method for hamstrings that doesn't require me using any of my upper body to pull on it, because then I end up holding my breath when I'm doing that, and it's not good for you. So I found this method, which was pretty, well, I'd say technique, I should say, that was pretty slick, where you essentially just kind of use gravity at your advantage, and you kind of get as close to a wall as possible and just throw your legs up onto the wall and just kind of let gravity pull your legs, you know, like, or pull your body down, I guess you would say, which uses your body's weight to, or at least the bottom portion of your body, or your hip area, like your glutes and stuff, to pull on your hamstrings and stretch them. So it's not a lot. You can just kind of rest your upper body and just let that happen. So it makes it easier for me to focus on breathing and allows me to do stretches. I didn't do them this morning because my lower back hurts really bad. Again, it's super cold where I'm at, and I've had, one sec. I've had lower back surgery in my 20s, which is not normally when you get it. I had 2 disc fuses in my lower back when I was like 24. I don't know when. I was in my early 20s, around the time you usually don't have back surgery. And the scar tissue, because it was a different type of back surgery. It wasn't like where they went into your stomach and like just put in a bunch of screws everywhere and stuff. I had a different type. It was they essentially clamp your spine after they do the decompression, and they did a laminotomy to cut the disc out that was bulging and whatnot. And it allows me to be it essentially didn't hinder my mobility very much. So I still have pretty good twisting mobility in my lower back and waist and stuff. So that's awesome that happens. But where the scar tissue is, it still hurts. Like it tightens up and it just, you know, it hurts. And then I get muscle inflammation, and then from there, like nerve cluster inflammation that wraps around my obliques and stuff, so it just aches on occasion. And it's definitely not as bad as it was before, because there'd be points when I would like stand up and start walking, and all of a sudden my sciatica, I would hit my sciatica, the bulging discs would push into it, and then I just have burning sensation down both legs behind my knees, and I would just fall over. My legs would just like, oh, we're not working now. It's too much. You just hit the kill switch essentially, and I would just fall over for like 2 or 3 minutes until it kind of went away, like the bulge went away, and it would still hurt, but it wasn't burning down my legs. So that doesn't happen anymore, which is really nice. Anyway, yeah, I was just tired of waking up in the morning with ridiculous amounts of pain in my lower back. So I'm like, let's just start stretching. I gotta get this done, because what'll happen is, like, if my back, it's like two different things will cause the same problem, I guess you can say. So if my back hurts, like the lower back scar tissue starts inflaming, then it messes with my glutes. Then my glutes pull on my hamstrings, and then the back of my knees hurt, like the muscles, all the tendons, everything just aches really bad. So I have to continue, and the other way around too. Like if my legs are tight, then it just makes everything else, so it just goes back the other direction. So I'm like, it'll solve that, because I had a doctor tell me you should stretch. You need to make sure your hamstrings are loose. I'm like, I got it. And then I'm like, this sucks, and I just didn't do it. So it's a lot of procrastination on my part as a 20-year-old, thinking that, I'll be fine. But now, since I'm significantly older than that, I won't say significantly, I'm in my 30s. So that's what I'm getting at with that. This is like not fun. Realize that was there. What's going on with this? Oh, I made it really far, and I just used Cheaty Cam to find that. This is all lava anyway, so I can't get it. So what way are we gonna go? Right? I don't know, left maybe? I don't know. Yeah, no, left takes me into that lava thingy. I don't want to go that way. Let's go right. Yeah, I'm gonna deflect and go this direction. So let's clear this out and put that there. And then can't do that there. And we'll just start switching directions. I hope there's no more lava against this wall. Should be fine. Anyway, so yeah, my back sucks. Stretching will fix it. I just have to, stay on it. Doing like internal hip stretches and hamstring stretches, back stretches, some like yoga poses to stretch my upper back and my abs, which is important, because one thing I just recently found out is, like, if your abs are tight and they're pulling, like contracting, it could cause posture problems, because it pulls on, your ribs and your pectoral muscles. I wouldn't say pecs, probably. There's probably another muscle structure there that they connect, or that they're related to, that pulls and eventually pulls your neck down, and then your neck hurts and stuff. So just stretching everything is just pretty much crucial to not having terrible posture and pain in certain parts of your body. So something I've been needing to do, and again, since I have free time on my hands, because layoffs and whatnot, I can do that. So that's going to be what I'm going to be doing. Well, I have been doing. I'm going to be continuing to do it. So now that I've been up moving around all morning, my back is better than it was. I mean, it still hurts, but it's not as bad. Like when I stand up in the morning, I'm just like, oh, this is terrible. Like, I don't feel like doing anything, and I'm gonna have to sit for a few minutes, driving around in the morning to take care of some stuff that goes on, my morning routine and errands I do. So it's interesting. I guess that's the best way I can put it, is that it's like an interesting problem to have, but it's totally fixable to an extent. So yeah, other than that, I'm excited for my book today. I'm going to finish the chapter once I'm done streaming. I don't even know how long I've been streaming. The stupid thing never updates the Twitch stats when I'm looking at OBS. But I'm also, I don't think anybody's still watching. It would have updated. I think it only updates when people watch or like stop watching or whatnot if the number changes. So it still shows my stat from whenever the stream started. I've been streaming for 1 second. So, and that was whenever I looked at it. But I know like right now is a pretty popular time for like Hermitcraft's streams and stuff to go on, so I'm probably not going to get anybody watching this unless they're like really super bored with it. Hour 17 minutes. Yeah. So there I am. I'm just sitting there with not doing anything. Hour and 17 minutes. I'm going to take a break real quick. So need to go upstairs. Need to stretch a little bit. So I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. Stretching. Stretching's great. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff talking about, I guess, you know, like stretch health and stuff like that, but I guess, oh my god, more? I'm gonna have to come around the side of this one. I remember seeing that one actually, and I think about it. One other thing though I was curious about, always thought was interesting, was one, I would say that was like interesting, but something that I was like into learning about was certain folklores and stuff, because I live in a part of the US where there was a heavy indigenous North American people presence back in the day, and like certain times of the year, and I live next to a state park too, like kind of like it's not like a big state park like you would see like, you know, in Wyoming or something like that, but it's significant. Well, I would, it's not significant, it's small, but it's like in the middle of a metropolitan area, so it's not like, you know, something you would see in Wyoming, but it's cool because there's like tons of wildlife, and it's not just like, oh, we see a bunch of like geese and birds and stuff, which we do. It's more of like there's friggin' bald eagles like there throughout the year. Like we see them throughout the year. They come, and 2 of them just chill on this tree throughout the year, and then, you know, you see them flying around and whatnot. Like coyotes, deer, stuff like that. And at night, obviously, like particularly in the night, I wouldn't say obviously, but there's like bighorn owls and stuff, and those guys are like super cool. I don't know what it is, but so you like, you know, going to sleep, it's like 9 p.m, especially in the winter time when it's like been dark for like 6 hours at 9 p.m, and you're just sitting there and you just hear it hooting outside, and you're like, oh, that's so cool. Can't see where it is though. It's like up on a tree somewhere, but if you go out and look for it, it takes off and you can't tell. But I had like this crazy dream. You know, I'm not gonna go into details about the dream because it's a little personal and stuff, but it's like nothing weird. It's just something happened, and I woke up, and you know, it was early in the morning. It was still pretty dark outside. It's like 5:30 in the morning. So I'm like going up, like, all right, let's go get coffee. It's time for coffee. That always makes me feel better. And what ended up happening was, like, I heard the owl, and I'm like, you know, and one sec. So I heard the owl, and it was like right outside, like it was like hooting in my ear, right? And I'm just like, it's right there. And naturally, because it was like early in the morning, I wasn't fully awake, so I'm just like, you know, I feel like what kind, I had to look up, like, you know, some like indigenous people from the area, like what kind of folklore do they have around this, you know? Because, you know, I'm not disrespectful towards any of that at all. I'm just like, yeah, is there something that could have happened that, you know, whatever? And it's a pretty cool stuff. And then I was just like, you know, maybe it was showing me something, telling me something about myself, or, you know, but it could have been just dreams, me processing some stuff that was happening IRL. But I still think it's cool to learn about it. Like, it's really interesting stuff. And I just, you know, I love wildlife, and just having that around is pretty sick. More diamonds. Gotta be careful because there's lava around us. But yeah, I really dig learning about stuff like that. So I went on the internet and researched it a bit, and, you know, found some cool stuff. And, you know, I just think it's interesting. The other thing too is like the squirrels where I live, they're huge. They're like small cats. And the funny thing about them is, like, they're like little ninjas, man. I've seen them running across, like you look at like a 2-story house in the area where I'm at, and I don't own either, by the way. I've complained about that in the past. I rent from somebody who has like 20 houses, which I think is just crazy. Like, I don't know how anybody could do that in this day and age, but they probably got them beforehand. But like, there's like a lip between the first and second floor where it kind of protrudes. It's like maybe like a foot like wide, but it protrudes about like 2 inches outside of the house, maybe an inch or so. So almost looks like a board that's just like wrapped around the center of the house. And there's like 2 trees touching the house on opposite sides. So there's like this little like road type thing. It's very thin. And I remember leaving my house once and just watching a squirrel like just sideways ninja its way across the house to get to the other tree instead of taking the floor, because you know there's people walking their dogs and stuff. Like, it's not going to run across the ground. I'm like, that is the most funny, hilarious thing I've seen. Those things are pretty cool though. They're a little kind of crazy sometimes. Like, they'll sit there and like aggravate my dog. So I have like the little Chihuahua Rocco, which I probably mentioned as well. You know, he's a little Chihuahua Terrier mix. So, you know, he's like 11 pounds, you know, feisty and fights everybody. And he was just barking one day, and it was a little bit more aggressive than normal than just, you know, letting a dog know that he's there. And I go outside and he's just like staring at the tree, like from the patio. And I look up the tree and there's just a squirrel, like big puffy tail, just like spinning its tail around. You know, have you seen the videos of him just kind of doing that aggressive, kind of trying to make itself look bigger than it is with its tail? And I'm like, oh man, Rocky, you're gonna piss the squirrels off now. There's way more of them here, and they'll mess you up, dude. So I had to, you know, get him back in the house. And I went over there and kind of stood and had my coffee to kind of, you know, hopefully, you know, just be like, this is, you know, in the animal gesture of just kind of being like, that's my patio, buddy. But I didn't want to like throw anything at it because it's kind of messed up. But yeah, my dog's a little pain in the butt, but I love him. So let's see how many diamonds we have. We have enough. I got to get headpiece, pants, and another pick. And now that I found that lava, I might just do obsidian and do an enchanting table and at least get some kind of enchantment going on the pick, so I can not have to worry about, you know, wasting diamonds on that. And I might just trap a villager in one of those rooms too and just get myself a mending villager. The last time, so in the other world, it was like, and I'm going to jinx myself here, I already know that. The amount of time that it took me to get 2 decent, not great, but decent mending book trades was very fast. I think one of them was like maybe the 3rd or 4th turn, not like the mending turn. It was like the 3rd or 4th book turn. I got like mending for like 16 or 12 or something like that. And the second one was like literally the second one. So, and it was pretty interesting. And then the other thing that was cool too is that like I was digging in like, I think I found like a double spawner. It was like a spider spawner and a zombie spawner in like the same radius. I think they were like 6 blocks away from one another. And in one of those chests, I found like a gnat mending book only. It was like the one time in like years that I've actually found just in the wild mending book from a chest like that. And I'm like, that's great. Too bad I can't use it in this world. I was like, but because I already had the dual mending villager set up, and I'm like, that sucks. But I thought it was pretty cool. So now it's just sitting in a chest in the other world. So I thought that was awesome. So let's go ahead and get some potatoes. And let's get back up here. Hopefully it's not too dark, and it's pitch black. I'm gonna sleep. So yeah, actually might think about looking into that right now. Maybe use one of the, I need obsidian first. Let's get to sleep. Yeah, everything's broken right now. This is it's like 10 guys trying to sleep in the same bed. All right, so we got 10. I need head. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need pants. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I need 12 more. I definitely don't have enough for that. What I'm gonna do with this one is I'm gonna save you for that thing. I'm gonna do more diamonds, or I'm gonna say pants. I'm gonna get pants. So I have my pants now. Iron pants somewhere else. I'm gonna do more iron picks. I think that's a good plan. And then I can take That guy is going to be saved. That's going to be my next, well, maybe not. I might just, let's just put those there. How many more chests? These and then these. I'm going to make four more of those iron picks. That's the plan. There should be some there. Put these somewhere else. I'm running out of space. This sucks. I used all the wood earlier in that tree that I got to make sticks. Yeah, I just got a really nice stick farm too in the other world. It had the bamboo farm that I was converting them into stuff, but again, it was just like, you know, I moved a little too quickly with that. I had nothing else to do, because those are the only resources you really need. And that's the thing that kind of sucks too about playing solo is, you know, not really a lot to do with talking with people that aren't here. I'm gonna get rid of that, and that, and that, and that. And that, and that, that. And then those are all gonna go in a hole somewhere. And then this, go there. I gotta reorganize a bunch of this stuff too. Get rid of that single stack stuff. We can try to find places for these. You stop humming in my ear, dude. Yeah, I probably have piles of things other places as well. So let's go ahead and dig a little trash hole real quick. Not with my sword. I'll do two. That way we can put all this crap. Yeah, it doesn't work either. There's probably a button that I can use to drop this stuff quicker, but I don't know what it is. Do this. It's like it never happened. There you go. It'll despawn after a bit. All right, let's go continue our journey of digging a hole. Sip some more coffee. Oh, that is amazing. I'm probably going to make another one around lunchtime. So I did two of those. I have the little 20-ounce tumblers, the ones that actually fit in the cup holders that aren't all bulbous on the top. It's a fun word. I think they're 20 ounces. Let me look at the bottom of it. I can't read it. I'm just going to go on a limb and say it's 20 ounces. Actually, I can read it. Never mind. It is the 20 ounce or 59 or 591 milliliter tumbler. I use the bigger ones, the bulbous ones, fun word, for like my water and stuff, because obviously, you know, water's pretty important, but also I have a big one for soda as well, which I drink a lot of diet soda, and aspartame's probably very amazing for you. It's a little bit of sarcasm there, but it's better than spiking insulin, unless if it's something terrible that we find out in 15 years that it's not. That is the only thing I try to put sugar in, you know, for myself when I'm eating, is my coffee. Like, I'll have sweets on occasion, but I try not to go crazy. I like sweets on occasion. When I do get sweets, it's usually like I go full bore. Like, I don't go full bore by, you know, eating a crazy amount or just like having like a whole bag of sugar. It's more of like, I make it worth it. So like, one of my snacks that I really love to have, and I've been, you know, backing up on how much I eat of it, is Ritz crackers with peanut butter. And when I was little, my mom used to put like a little bit of sugar in the peanut butter. I'm like, oh, this is great. It tastes amazing. It's like, you know, Reese's or Reese's, depending on who you are. And I looked up a recipe. I'm like, I'm gonna make Reese's peanut butter. And I know it's like confectioner sugar, powdered sugar for some of those. And just like peanut butter, right? So I'm looking it up, and everyone's like, no, man, you gotta put a little bit of butter in there, like a little bit of butter to make it creamy, and you gotta put a little bit of vanilla in there for some flavor, and then, yeah, confectioner sugar. So I did that the other day, and I had, you know, a couple of them, and I'm like, this is gonna wreck me if I get a little bit, you know, if I lose my ability to eat these in moderation. I'm like, this is gonna be a problem. But it was really good, nice little snack I had. I know my limit on what will make me not feel good with eating sugar, and usually just it makes my stomach hurt, you know. So I try not to go too crazy unless I've had like a really like complex carbohydrate full meal, like, you know, eating a bunch of potatoes or something. I love potatoes. Potatoes are amazing. Or, you know, just a big full meal in general. It's like some fiber and stuff in it, like, you know, veggies and whatnot. Then I might do a little bit more. But like if I go in like full crazy, I'm like, I'm gonna get some ice cream and I haven't eaten all day, it'll wreck me. So I try to like not go crazy with it. So I'm not trying to get sick or anything crazy. So but yeah, sugar's a very interesting thing. You know, everything's got it in it, and trying to be clean is complicated these days when you're trying to eat clean. That buzzword of eating clean and whatnot, it's just, you know, like there's a lot of research in the US from, you know, the 90s and 80s, even before that kind of led into the research from the 90s and 80s that just really ruined a lot of things for people when it comes to like understanding food health and whatnot. And it's really just like, you know, just try to not eat processed stuff. Coming from me that just talks about like eating processed peanut butter and Ritz crackers, and, you know, but, you know, again, it's okay in moderation. It's just not like, you know, make it like I eat, you know, 3 tubes of Ritz a day with peanut butter and as my meals. You know, that's not good for you. But yeah, it's just like trying to replace stuff. And the thing that sucks too is like nowadays, like it's harder to find, you know, like the cleaner foods that used to be what, you know, what my dad would always be like, son, I mean, you can spend, you know, $20 and then fill your fridge for a month. And I'm like, yeah, no, $20 will, you know, make you one meal nowadays because everything's so, you know, price hiked and stuff. But, it's like it's harder to get to have that lifestyle now. Like back when I was a kid, when I wasn't, you know, paying for anything, it was like, yeah, that's the way to go. And then now that I'm an adult and I've been an adult, like it's slowly tapered out of that kind of framework where it's more of like, no, you're gonna get the processed pasta, you know, packaged sodium enriched stuff, you know. And again, sodium, like salts, are not bad for you. They're electrolytes, but again, having too many of those could just destroy the what is it, interactivity, I think. I don't know. I'm not an electrophysiologist, or an EP as they're called. But like messing with that is problematic. Like too many electrolytes. Like essentially you just pee them out, but I mean, if you overdo it, it's before your body can do that, you mess that portion of your body up and it's problematic. And that's kind of like what the thing that scares me about electrolyte drinks are. I mean, obviously not like Gatorade, but because they're very limited, but I'm talking like the ones that are like BCAA, like the amino acid drinks that also have like electrolytes in them and stuff. Those ones are just like, you can overdo it because those taste really good, but you could always increase the electroconnectivity between your body and stuff, and that portion of your body could be problematic. So it's always things to take into consideration. But, you know, I try to just, you know, do what I can and just do whatever I can that makes my body feel good, I guess, or not feel bad, I guess you can say, because there's things you can do that are terrible for you that will make your body feel good. But, you know, you get the point. It's more of just like trying to be smart about everything. So let's see how far we got before we hit something. Once I get out of these last 3, I'm gonna ED cam through this wall and see if there's anything that's gonna be blocking us. More lava. Doesn't look like it. I think we're golden for a significant amount of time. So the one thing that I thought was cool too, and I was digging out that big hole in the forever world. I'm gonna adjust my mic real quick because it's like pointing. Whatever, it's fine. I'm not gonna just make noise. Was when I dug that big hole for the creeper farm. That thing, man, that was like, I got so many resources once I started getting down into the deep slate. I mean, there was a ton of stuff. Very awesome. So, all right, let's just keep doing this. I don't know what else to rant about. Kind of, you know, not really living up to what the stream title is. Let's go ahead and leave one of these down here. It's gonna go over there. Actually, I don't need it that close. This is kind of a safe area to be in. And that's the this is the last sip of my coffee. It's that last sip. For some reason too, I gotta figure this out. And one thing I don't like about my coffee maker is I think it spits the water out from that little percolator thing on the top too fast, because even though I don't make a full pot of coffee, how I do it is my wife's mom, my mother-in-law, she showed me this really awesome method that she does when she makes coffee, and I'm pretty sure that everybody else does this. It's just my tiny brain isn't intuitive enough to come up with something like that. Is what they'll do is when she's making her and my father-in-law's coffee, you know, they'll have a cup each, right? Like, so she'll just fill up 2 of the coffee cups, or fill up a coffee cup with water and pour it in, then do another one for his, and then just put in, you know, the filter and then how much coffee she typically does for the 2 cups, and just calls it good. So there's never any waste. There's never any leftover, right? So like, I'm like, that's brilliant. Like, why did I never think of that? So I started doing that. So I only put like, you know, I fill up the 20-ounce tumbler to, like, we're back on coffee talk, I just realized. I will fill my tumbler up just below the lip of where the lid sits into, because I have to take into account that the absorption of water inside the coffee grounds and all that stuff, and evaporation and whatnot, which is not a lot. And how much, you know, half and half I'm going to put in my coffee. So there's like a place where I found like the sweet spot, right? And what I do is I only put 3 tablespoons of coffee grounds, which I've been told is a lot. But the funny thing is like, that's what I get from, like, when I ask the internet, you know, or not even necessarily like, or what the internet says, rather, because the internet's always right? The papers that came with the coffee maker, people that I know that are better at making coffee than I am, and everything's like, for every whatever you put in 2 scoops, right? So I actually measured the coffee out and did that. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm like, that's a lot. That's a total lot. It's way more than you need. And I'm just like, dude, you need to chill. Like, it's not a lot of, that's what I'm being told to by the people who make the things. You know, they're not the one, well, maybe they're in cahoots with, you know, Big Coffee or whatever. But anyway, getting to my point is that I put 3 tablespoons of coffee in a filter that's meant for like 12 cups of coffee, which I assume is a lot more, depending on how strong you like your coffee. Every time I make coffee, I get coffee grounds in the pot. Don't know why. Don't know why that's a thing. And it's interesting, because that's like my favorite part. Like, I'm not complaining about it. I don't know why it's a thing, but I embrace it. Because that last sip, I get a ton of coffee grounds in you know, the last little sip of coffee, the little slurry of coffee grounds and, you know, whatever particulates are from the sugar. Because the funny thing about the palm sugar, I'll get into this, I'll get back to the coffee thing in a second, is that it looks very natural. So I'm like, cool, there's like debris from like the coconut palm husks and stuff in there, because it's not coconut sugar, it's coconut palm sugar. So it's the sugar that they extract from the palm itself. kind of like sugar cane, but on a, you know, palm trees, palms, or the specific coconut palm tree palm. And I'm like, I've looked at it sometimes and I'm like, that might look like a spider leg or something. And I'm just like, just go for it. I'm like, all right, whatever. There's a spider leg inside my thing. It's probably just debris from, you know, processing the palm stuff, but it's like supernatural. Well, not supernatural, like as in, you know, spirits and stuff like that, but it's like a very natural, like product. So I always thought that was funny. And I've talked with people about it at work. I'm like, yeah, sometimes I feel like there's insect legs in there, but you know, I'm pretty sure it's okay. I haven't gotten sick from it yet. But yeah, that's always like the best part. I still don't understand how it gets there. Usually, I mean, obviously it's because of overflow, like from the top of the water gets too high, and that's what makes me think that it's related to the water from the little spigot thing or the little spout on the top being too high, or the actual filter to catch up with. That was ominous. Anyway, so my game volume's a little weird right now. I can hear it, but it's like very light. A little too fast. Yeah, coffee is a very interesting, very amazing thing. I'm doing that a little too fast. Like gravel's like one of the things I hate the most in this game. I really don't like gravel. It comes in handy whenever you're filling in oceans and stuff. Because I don't know what it is. I don't get the same results when I'm using what is it called? Like sponges and stuff. I don't know why sponge, like how it's supposed to suck up a bunch of to be fair, I'm probably doing it wrong. But it's supposed to suck up a bunch of the ground, but usually whenever I have problems with it, it doesn't. It just like it'll suck it up, and then the water sources will just replenish themselves because there's like 20 water sources around it. So it's like infinite water source type of thing going on. Yeah. I'm supposed to get back to talking about something. I forgot what it was. Anyway, if I remember, I'll go back to it. So yeah, journey for enough gold. I haven't even found gold this run. Well, coming back down this last run we did. I'm bound to run into something soon. And by something, it's redstone. Maybe there's some gold around it, or gold. Don't say gold. Don't give me gold. There's diamond around it somewhere. All right. We gotta sneeze. Gotta mute. My sneezes take forever. Like I always feel it coming, and it's like moments. And then like I just imagine my face looks ridiculous before this happens, where I'm just like my nose is all bunched up, my mouth is like preparing for it, and I just make this weird kind of like stress noise, like and then I sneeze, and then it's just very dramatic sounding sneeze. But always takes longer than I expect it to. Anyways. Very far. Thinking about going back. Like let's say, let's do one, right? And then we do 1, 2, and then the third one, and then I can just start going back and having that 1 block wide thing. Because I don't know, this is my logic behind this. I see there's no point in doing this layer since there's no materials there. So coming here, I can see obviously there's redstone, so that's not useful. This is. So it just indicates that there's no there's no resources along that wall, at least along that one by one, or 1x3 section of the wall, so I could just keep coming this direction and eventually make my way back into the main hallway. Oh, no, I needed that. Oh, I didn't see that. There we go. We got one more. Okay, awesome. That's good. Yeah, I just keep running back in this direction until we get through these last 2 pickaxes. Go back upstairs and probably make more pickaxes because I haven't earned any diamonds in this run. Very unlucky run, if you ask me. There we go. Diamonds. My plan is working out very well. Let's go pick it up before I accidentally open up a lava source on it. Granted, I'm pretty sure I'll grab it before the lava would get it, unless it fell into it. There we go. Cool. So that's good. Can probably be enough for what we need. So once these 2 pickaxes break, I'm just gonna go back, prep all my stuff. Need to find a lava source too. That way I can make some obsidian. I'm gonna need some glass, I believe. A book, obsidian maybe. No, glass is for the beacon. So I'm not gonna need glass. I'm gonna need a book or a lectern. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's a single book, 4 obsidian, and a diamond to make the enchanting table. And then I got all the books inside of the other room, so I can tear those down and make, hopefully have, I don't think I have enough books for to make that the full level 30 enchanting setup, but I'll get it close enough, at least for the time being, and then I can disenchant and then re-enchant later if I need to. Unless I don't even think it's possible. I think I'm breaking 3 from a tier 2 or the 2nd tier, the middle enchant. I've gotten it once, and I just needed a breaking to combine with a different device or a different tool device, like it's a remote control or something. Oh yeah. Oh. I think one of the things I was excited about over the holidays, at least the Thanksgiving North American holiday. Well, I'd say North American. I think it's a U.S. only thing. The pumpkin pie is like, it's like the thing. Like Thanksgiving. Like, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving traditionally. Like, I'm not like the big, let's, celebrate that we gave disease-infested blankets to indigenous people here and thank you for giving us all your land while we screwed you over type of thing. It's more of a, we all typically should have the day off from work, unless if you work for a place that sucks, that doesn't close on the holidays. And being thankful for, not being in a really bad spot in these hard times that we're living in right now in this country, in the world in general, but particularly I can speak for what's going on in the country. And trying not to just slave over a stove all day, you know what I mean? Because that's what it kind of feels like sometimes, like just breaking your back doing stuff, and stressing yourself out. And like my wife and I, we do cook, but it's not traditional. Like we don't go all bore out and like prep the night before and stuff. Well, technically you could say that we do, but it's not the same. Like we do like what I call Costco Thanksgiving. So instead of like a turkey, what we do is we go to Costco and just get 2 rotisserie chickens. They're pre-made mashed potatoes and mac and cheese, and we get a pack of the King's Hawaiian rolls because who doesn't? And we make some other small things and then get like a pumpkin pie. So it's just like we reheat stuff, and we will obviously like church it up a bit for ourselves. Like, you know, we add different cheeses and stuff to the mac and cheese and the potatoes. I'm gonna see if there's something back here more. I'll eventually find it, but you know, when I start going the other direction. But you know, that's kind of what we do, because it's like there's no reason for us to be stressed out. You know, it's a day off that we have. I technically have every day off right now, but for my wife, she gets a day off from, you know, being stressed at work all the time. Let's not have home stress, you know. Let's practice that every day. Let's try not to have home stress every day, you know what I mean? That's something that's like important, because you don't want to bring work stress home for everybody, for yourself primarily, but for everybody, you know. It's essentially, it was explained to me by my therapist once that you got to kind of imagine, like, you know, the stress you have at your job. If you do have a very stressful job, I mean, obviously there's jobs that are stressful, but it's like a livable stress that doesn't like, it's like manageable, but it's not one that like affects your mental health. But if you have a job where it's like affecting your mental health, like you got to kind of picture it as like flinging that slime off. Like it's your body's covered in that slime from like the negativity and stuff from your job. And when you're leaving, you just kind of picture in your head just flinging it off at the building and just leaving it there. Because you know you're going to have to come to it the next day, but you just know that you're going to have a safe place for you when you get back to your house. So, and everyone should be like-minded in the same house, you know, if everybody's there, and they should have the kind of same concept. Like, it's okay to vent about stuff, but it's like, if it's getting to a point where it's bringing up the same physiological and mental sensations that you have, then it's not a good, like, state of mind to be in. Then you should probably rethink about, you know, discussing stuff like that there and just leave it there, because then it's invading your safe space. That's kind of my 2 cents on it. But again, whatever works for whoever. Always talk with a professional. That's like the one key thing, is like, never take advice from me. I've just lived through it, and I found the way that it works for me. And always seek out professional help, man. This is a very important time in history that mental health has never been, or like seeking help for mental health concerns hasn't been more important, I think. I mean, obviously back like in the day when it wasn't really available, but again, in my lifetime, I've seen numerous terrible things, and pandemics and crises and stuff like that. So a lot of people my age, you know, have been through a lot of stuff, and you know, it's important to keep on top of all that. So, but yeah, I was expecting to get back on a more positive note, like more the snow where I'm at. From what I was looking with, like how the weather patterns across the planet are typical with the climate in the area, we were supposed to expect more precipitation this winter, and it was according to like the Farmer Almanac, where, you know, what percentage of what it's supposed to be like this year. It was supposed to be a lot of precipitation where I live, a lot of snow, and I was really excited for that. And so far we've gotten 2 snows. One of them was very it's gonna break here a second. Right there. Okay, cool, let's go back. One of them wasn't that great. It was a dusting, and it melted pretty quickly, and it was very anticlimactic. So that was sad for me and everybody that was expecting, or didn't have to drive in it. But I got another topic to bring up after this, because that's where I was going to segue with the Christmas talk, or the Thanksgiving pie talk, and then end up discussing mental health. But anyway, we have only gotten one real good snow, which was the other day, and sad. I love snow, but again, I don't mind driving in it. I don't mind, because I'm really good at driving in snow. It's other people that I worry about. So like, I'm careful. I don't speed. If I can, I don't. And it's like there's people just like, you know, I have a 4-wheel drive, therefore I'm invincible in the snow, which is not the case. But yeah, I just love it. I love sitting and watching it. You know, like I celebrate Christmas again in a non-traditional way. You know, it's, for me, it's, again, I just like having the tree and then just being with family, because I've had loss in my family. It's just, let's just put it like that. Like, my mom passed away when I was late teens, early adult, you know, I was 19, let's just put it that way. My mom passed away, which was a long time ago. And I am a person that I take that into consideration, I guess you can say. Like when it comes to, holy crap, where'd you come from? Did he kill any of my villagers? You guys are all cool with it. Oh my god, what is going on, dude? Whoa. Should I be worried? You, buddy, what the hell are you doing up there? Oh. Jeez. All right, well, let's go get some dirt and fix that. Where was I? Ah, family. Yeah, family is important. Yeah, my mom passed away whenever I was 19, so like, and it was sudden. It wasn't something like we all knew was going to happen. It just came out of nowhere. So it was one of those situations where it hit us all off guard, and I'm gonna do this real quick, and you know, it sucks. And now it's just like I try to stay in a state of mind where I'm enjoying company of my family, you know, like my kid, my wife, my sister, my wife's family. Because the funny thing is, I find very interesting as well as people will always just be like, you know, have that kind of that issue with like in-laws. They're like, oh, your in-laws must suck, huh? I'm sorry, they're coming and visiting. I'm like, I like my in-laws. My in-laws are amazing. They're the greatest people ever, and like I have nothing bad to say about them. And some people just like, oh, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. My in-laws are amazing. So I get that a lot. That's fun whenever people don't really realize that, you know, not all in-laws are like the traditional, what the TV says they're supposed to be like type of thing, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain, I guess. So I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you know, it's not hard to explain. They're amazing people. It's pretty easy to explain. But I really enjoy my in-laws, so I love celebrating, you know, when I can with them, and when I can see them, whenever, you know, my wife's family comes to visit and all that stuff. It's just awesome. So what am I missing? Helmet. Don't need two. So again, that's kind of a thing, you know, that some people just don't understand, that, you know, family members, just being around your family, you know, family's good, you know. And I mean, obviously if you have a, you know, some bad family members, you know, there's always going to be someone bad there, but not everyone's terrible. You know, I can't say that actually. Some people are, but anyway, my point is that it's always nice to have, you know, people that you love, you know, around, so you can just have someone to discuss things with and talk with and stuff. If you don't, then that's one of the reasons why I like doing this and talking and you know, just being on a forum where, you know, people can just come and talk and stuff and just have someone to talk to. I want to get rid of that saddle. Dirt. let's swap that and then go over here and fix this up a little bit. But yeah, no, I think it's important. There's all kinds of cool stuff that happens, you know, with you know, finding communities online. Because I spent, you know, even I have a very supportive family. My wife and my kid are very, very amazing people, and but it's like, you know, when I don't want to dump a bunch of my problems on my family members because they're stressed out. So I'll come and obviously not dump my problems on people online, but escape, I guess you can say. And just have, like, I don't know, like an outlet, you know, where you can just kind of be away from things and not have to stress about stuff, and just kind of be in a place where everyone's just like in a good mood and not stressing about what's going on, just kind of like an escape. You know, I think that's important. And, you know, regardless of if like I'm streaming right now and, you know, I've had myself as a viewer for the last like almost 2 hours, and I typically post these videos on YouTube, right? So I would like for someone to find it, you know, if somebody finds it and then they can, you know, catch the videos, you know, on a VOD somewhere on YouTube, or somewhere, it's going to be on YouTube, and just, you know, be like, okay, cool, this guy streams on occasion, and, you know, I'm still trying to get because sometimes, like I said, I still suffer with anxiety stuff. Like, I'll just wake up in the morning and just feel dreadful and not feel good, and it's like I don't want to bring any negative energy, but the thing is like at some point I will feel better in the day, and I will, oh my god, you scared me, oh Jesus, you're in my freaking room, dude, what are you doing? I'm gonna die to this guy. Oh, whoa, that sucked. He just came out of nowhere. Did you see that? Anyway, so I gotta fix this. But anyway, my point is it's like, you know, I just want to be able to have my outlet, and that's what this is for me. You know, for me, this is my outlet, and I enjoy gaming and just chatting, even if it's to no one, because then I still get to talk. It's being documented, right? And the fact that we're documenting means that I can, God, that I'm gonna eat some steak, that I can have this put on a VOD somewhere, and then somebody can catch it and be like, I like what this dude's on about, and then come to my streams, and I can build a fan base, whatever, and then we can just have a community where I'm, you know, chit-chatting like-minded people about stuff, and hopefully have an outlet for people, you know, because it's not even just like having one person either. Like, you know, I gotta follow this one person, but it's like, it's for me, it's more of like, you know, if I'm doing this at like in the morning when somebody else is playing, like I really want to do this later in the day, but again, I read at night before I go to bed, because it's like I have like stimulation overload kind of stuff that happens on occasion, which if nobody's heard of that, what'll happen is like, you know, I'll just be trying to chill out and I'll be watching a video, then all of a sudden my brain is just like synapses firing like rapid fire, and all of a sudden like I'm feeling like I'm panicking, and it's just every time I close my eyes, it's just like rapid fire, everything's happening at once, and it's hard for my mind to calm down. So like that's why I like doing this in the daytime, because that typically doesn't, I've never had, well, I'm not gonna say never, I've never experienced that in the daytime, which is probably completely possible, or if I have, it's normal, and I'm not trying to go to sleep and, you know, close my eyes and stuff, or tired, so it makes it worse. So it's just weird. It's a very weird sensation. So like if I were to do this at night, it would kind of freak me out, because I would stress. Like the first time I ever experienced, okay, so this is interesting. So there's been a handful of times where I've had like full-blown panic attacks, and one of these instances was I got Diablo 2, the remaster that came out on Xbox like 2021. Was it 2021 or 2022? It was back then when that one came out, right? And I was like playing it, and I had spent a day where like I had to go to work. I think it was a Sunday that I spent like all day playing it, and I ended up going to bed at like, or turning it off at like 2 in the morning on Monday, and I had to be to work a couple hours later. And granted, I'm not in my 20s at this time either. This is a couple years ago. So what ended up happening was I was like just rerunning this dungeon to collect loot from this boss. And I got into bed and I closed my eyes to go to sleep, and I could not stop thinking and picturing the game. Like it was flashing rapid fire, like, you know, drops this, games this, that, and this and that. And it was just like so quick that it caused a panic attack. Like I was like overstimulated, and it was trippy. And for like coming down from that, like I had like heart palpitations and stuff, like it was going crazy. And then coming down from that was like a good week. I didn't feel good for like a week or two after that. Like I just had like mild anxiety for like a week after, until I finally settled down. I'm like, I can't play that game anymore. I haven't played it since, which I know is probably not the case. It was just moderation. Like obviously if you play a game all day and it's like, it's triggering that freaking, you know, dopamine release with the looting system and trying to get those green items and stuff like that, or whatever it was. So I mean, that sucked. That was terrible. And my resolution to that for myself, what I found my limitations were, is like, let's not do anything that's like massively stimulating like the dopamine system late in the day. It's time to wind down at a certain time. So, you know, I still have, you know, had stuff happen after that that's similar. Like another time was like I was just watching videos on YouTube. That was like kind of my what I did to kind of mellow out, was just watch like a chill ASMR video or something. And there was an instance where I found this channel, this dude from Australia that was just like melting down like steel, or I don't know if it was steel, I don't know if he had like a crucible that was hot enough for that, but like aluminum parts, and he was just melting them into like bars and stuff. So I was like going to sleep at like, you know, 11, 12, and I closed my eyes, and this dude was like just like flashing, like guy pouring in like molten aluminum and stuff into things like that. And I was like, what is going on, right? And that was the instant when I'm just like, okay, well, I can't watch that channel anymore. I guess it was more of a thing where, you know, I don't know, maybe it was something else, and it just happened that be the last thing that I was watching. So something else was overstimulating for me, but that just happened to be the thing that pushed it. So I don't know, is what it is. But I still sometimes will catch videos like that and just be like, all right, cool, let's just not overdo it. So what I do at night now is like, because I can't sleep. One of the things too is I'm pretty sure other people have this, but I have like tinnitus really bad in my ears, so, or tinnitus, whatever it's called, and my ears ring. And it's just because, you know, I played music back in the day in a band, and I had ear protection, but it just wasn't very well, like it wasn't the best. And I listen to music loud in headphones and stuff like that. So if I'm trying to go to sleep and I close my ears, sounds like something my mom would have told me when I was little. Close your ears, listen. What would happen is like I just get ringing, like a very loud ringing. And sometimes it's so bad where it's like nothing helps except for like turning up music loud. Kind of counterintuitive, it seems, but I usually will have, I can usually like filter it out or tone it out where I'm not even, I don't notice it. But if I'm trying to go to sleep and there's no noise, I'll hear it, and it's just very annoying. So what I do is I'll put like a YouTube video on, like a mellow YouTube video, and not watch it, but just listen to it. And it's usually like spoken word stuff, and, you know, people talking, where it's not like crazy people yelling and anything like that. So nothing crazy like natural disaster videos and stuff like that. It's usually like, you know, this dude, I can't remember what his channel is called, but you know, he's very soft spoken and he talks about the space and stuff like that. So he'll talk about It's called like Asteroid or something like that. But like his channel, like I'll just sit and listen to this dude talk about like, you know, supernovas and stuff like that for like 2 hours, and I'll just throw a playlist of his on and stuff. And then that usually just kind of like mellows me down. But lately I've been reading, you know, my Dungeon Crawler Carl book, which has been awesome. You know, I read for a couple hours and I get really tired, and because I'm not like visually stimulated, I think is kind of the thing that's been helpful. So, you know, it's a thing. It's something that's pretty interesting, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the you know, the reading. Like it's triggering a different part of my brain when it comes to just being mellow and having something happen, but it's not like a visual thing. So, and I also, one thing I also have been doing is I have the blue light filter on my phone kick on at like 7:30 every night. So that helps a little bit. But again, just having like no screen time, which the only time I actually see my screen is when I'm pausing the audiobook, you know. So I don't know. I think it's been working good. I'm trying to. I think the latest I'll play my game is like 7. And one of the things too that I thought was interesting was I was looking at the analytics of Twitch and like when good times to stream would be, and everything's just like pointing at like super early in the morning, like 6 or 5, until like obviously like all the hermits and everybody wakes up and starts streaming, or like 11 to 2. And I'm like, well, I think the early morning is probably the best, but I don't know. I'm still testing stuff again. I mean, there was one time when I had a bunch of viewers that came on, like not at the same time, but like throughout and it was usually Phasmophobia. I was watching I was playing Phasmo for like Halloween and whatnot, and that was pretty cool. But again, like jump scare games are fun and all, but I don't think that my nervous system is able to take too much Phasmo. And because I have to play that game at night. I'm not going to play it like at 6 in the morning. You know, maybe if it was like 3 a.m., you know, that's like a religious thing, right? I think the witching hour or whatever it was, that might even be like a religious thing. That might just be something else that's, you know, parallel to religion, but I don't know. Oh, I might be almost at the end here, so there's only one way to find out. Yeah, we're getting close. Actually, I'm just gonna leave that there. Might as well have some ways to get out of this place. If I'm like halfway through and need to run back for something, I don't have to go all the way around. Especially after I break all my picks. There's probably a term for it, which I don't remember or know what it is actually. I know that there's probably a term in English language for that. Like I'm yawning. An exit, so I don't have to go all the way to the end of the hall, turn left, and come all the way back. So I don't know what that's called. Yeah, see how long I've been streaming for, because it still hasn't updated. Look at all my emails. Let's see, where's my Twitch app? Two hours and 20 minutes. Okay, that's not too bad. Oh yeah, I'm going this way. I think it's funny that it counts myself as someone that's watching. That's the case. Unless if somebody's just putting this in the background and just lurking. I don't know. I doubt it. I think it's probably just myself. Okay, put that there. So one thing I keep forgetting to doing is like, one thing I keep forgetting to do is like post on Blue Sky. I don't know, like I'm curious about that, because like Blue Sky seems a little like less like psycho, not necessarily with people there, but like just the moderating on Twitch, or not Twitch, what is it? On Twitter, whatever the hell it's called these days. Like I'll go through and just like check the Discover tab in Blue Sky, and there's just like some really cringy stuff there. It's almost like, you know, subreddits, you know, or like some certain like really sketch subreddits that are out there, and just weird stuff that's being posted, and I'm just like, all right, well, this is kind of weird. So I'm not sure if like Blue Sky is the right place to post for gaming stuff. I don't know. Like there's some people who have migrated over to it, and some people that are utilizing both. So I'm not sure if I should just break down and make an X account and, you know, post that I'm streaming there. If I know there's probably got significantly more users there, but you know, who knows? I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but because I don't get a lot of I mean, there's people that like, you know, repost my stuff whenever I say I'm streaming, and it's like gamer help channels and stuff, which is pretty sweet. So I'm not sure if like X has something like that, or Twitter or whatever it's called. So I don't know. I'm gonna research it some more. Should be getting close. But yeah, what I'm gonna do as well is I'm gonna go back once I break through this and do a 3x3 that's long enough to where I know when I come out of this this direction into the main hallway, I'm gonna flip around and go back the other direction, but there's no indication on the other side to stop besides just reading the coordinates manually. So I'm going to dig a 1x3 hallway at the far end, you know, a significant distance back, and just place torches in order. So like once I break through, there'll be a torch like in the center of the wall for each one. So it should be like 4 or 5 blocks spacing between each one, which is overkill for the lighting and the mob stuff, but still, it's just for me. Still haven't broken through yet. It's getting there. I'm probably gonna use the rest of this pickaxe. Actually, I have one more. Yeah, so I have one more pick, so I can run through upstairs for it. Get some lapis. Really digging this music too. I had an issue with copyright claims on the music source that I had, that I was streaming from one of the other free lo-fi providers, where I had everything documented in the video, saying that, you know, it's free to use. Here's the place I got it from and all that, and it still tripped out. It was like some company in Eastern Europe somewhere, some entity, whether that being a group or an individual, claimed copyright ownership of it. And I don't know if it was just like, you know, somebody made a song using the same samples that are no longer free to use, or licensed for free to use for everybody. So I'm just like, whatever. And then I found City Planner Plays a long time ago. He's been around forever. But his channel, because I love City Skylines. I love city building games, but I've never been able to get into that one as thoroughly as I probably should. Because this, I mean, it's a game where I actually have to like concentrate all the time. Like it gives me, not anxiety, but it makes me stress out. And I like watching people play I like City Planner Plays. I like watching him build stuff and things like that. So that's kind of where that goes. But he has a thing where you can go to his website, and it's like Master Planner Music or something like that. It's in all my information. There we go, we made it out. So it's in my information on my about page and my Twitch channel and stuff. And same thing, he's like, this is all free, like just tell him where you got it from. So excuse me, that's where all my music comes from, and it's good music. It's not, you know, it's lo-fi, it's chill music, it sounds good. So that's what I'm going to be doing on the center of each one. So it's going to be wall, outside line, inside that. So that's the idea. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to just build this one wall out for a while until I maybe break this pickaxe. But anyway, yeah, his music's good. I don't know if it's community driven. I don't know how it's built because I haven't really paid too much attention to it. He's probably mentioned it in streams and on the website where it might just be donated music from the community. But I really dig it, and you know, it's a nice thing that he's doing for people like me that are just starting out. Especially like worrying about my job, you know, because I don't, well, the lack of a job that I have is I'm worried, you know, it's one thing I have to like bring up to my wife is like, I want to do something that's not revenue generating, you know, like I don't have an income from this, and I'm going to need to buy a subscription to a different service so I can play music in the background. And, you know, this helps with that, you know. So now I have something playing in the background that I can hear. That's not just my hold music, which is what's on my starting soon and be right back and stream ending screens. That's something that I made. But again, it's like I can make music. Obviously, I'm like good at making music. This is something I've been doing forever. But it's like, unless if I spent, you know, a couple weeks not streaming and just doing music all day, is when it would become something that I would end up being able to do to like make it to where it's just me, if that makes sense. And it's not that it stresses me out doing that. It's more of, I just don't want to put that pressure on myself right now, because granted, I'm not a professional music maker. I'm not like an expert at it. It's something I enjoy, and I get spurts of motivation to create. And if I go in and just start forcing stuff, it sounds like crap. Like I don't have the ability to just come up with bangers like after, you know, banger after banger after, you know, a banger track. And for me, it's like I think the last run that I had when I created that track, Conmigo, that I have, it's on my hold music. Like that one was like the best out of the 4 that I made. And you know, the last time I made a track before that was like in 2020 during COVID, you know. So during the pandemic is when I was like, cool, I feel creative, because there was nothing else to do, and I had a lot on my mind at that time. And you know, that was just what happened. And there's been times when I've sat down and tried to make something and just nothing happens. Like I'll, you know, pull out my keyboard, like my piano keyboard, and I'll just be like, you know, just chugging away at stuff, and it's just nothing comes. Like to me, it's just like it sounds too forced. So like every once in a while I'll make something and then maybe I'll change it up, but for now that's just hold music. And then I need, you know, some sort of source of something for music. So it's a very great thing that he's doing, and I am 100% behind it, because I think it's amazing, and I might think about contributing to it if I could, you know. And I like to do things without sample packs. Like one of the things that stresses me out, like, you know, because a lot of people will just go buy a sample pack and just, you know, grab like, you know, the loops and just stick them all in, you know, 5-6 different tracks and, you know, mix them and be like, I just made a track. And it's like, well, no, you just arranged somebody else's stuff. So that's kind of where my It's my thoughts on that. I'm just like, that's not necessarily what it is, because it kind of takes away the musical availability from it. And, you know, sample libraries are kind of stressful because, you know, a lot of people are using the same samples. There's no like individuality there. Like, I want to see and hear people coming up with stuff on their own. You know what I mean? Instead of having to, you know, just hear the same sample, you know, mixed 60 different times. So for me, like, you know, I'll use, like, because like the drum, obviously that track is drum and bass, and there's an amen break in there, and everybody who listens to drum and bass knows that that's like the most sampled drum break in the history of things that have been sampled. What I do is I have VSTs, like instrument VSTs that are like drums, you know, like you know, Easy Drummer, stuff like that, or, you know, Get Good Drums, where you can buy a drum kit and you can tweak it and make it sound like any way that you want it to. So what I do is I'll go in and I will build my own break, and then I will sample that break, and then I will tweak it to my liking, and then I'll mix it so it's more original. You know, I think Icicle does that too. I think he's more of a neurofunk producer, but it's, you know, just as it's all drum and bass really, but in jungle. But it's like, you know, I like that. I like being able to develop something like that on my own. So what I did with that one is I built my own break, and I chopped up an amen break for the highs and the ghost notes, like obviously the ghost snare notes, and then I just put in my own drum kick over it with similar like spices, I guess you can say, for that. So it had the amen break that was kind of supplementing what was there. It wasn't just straight up like an amen break with like a kick and snare emphasizing what was happening, if that makes sense. So I don't know, that's just my 2 cents on the whole thing. My rant, I guess you can say. So what is this, 11:30? Yeah, I think once I get back up to the top here, I'm going to just wrap up, you know, just go over, you know, everything, plans for the future of the world, maybe what's going to happen next time I stream, maybe this weekend, I'm not sure. Though I forgot, oh my gosh, I forgot. So going back to the talk about like holiday stuff, is like I do pumpkin pie on, almost at Halloween, Thanksgiving, and apple pie for, you know, Christmas. So my wife and I also, we like baking cookies and stuff. Like, I'm a chocolate chip cookie guy, and she's like everything else. She's like really good at all kinds of things, but my chocolate chip cookies are like the go-tos. But we're going to be decorating the house and stuff for the holiday, and doing some baking over the holiday. So I'm probably not going to be streaming unless if it's like later in the night or in the evening before it's time to fall asleep. So I got to be careful because there's lots of mobs around here, and it's night again. But yeah, like I was going to say, like, yeah, the pies, man. I love pie. Close the doors, dude. It's not safe in here. But I love apple pie, and I made an apple pie once, but it wasn't that great. I like overcooked the crust, and it was just like kind of ridiculous. All right, let's come out here so I don't get blown up. Yes, I see you up there, you jerk. There goes the ender guy. Let's get in here, close this door so hopefully nothing comes and blows me up. This is why I gotta get away from these people, man. They're gonna get me killed. I have 6. Again, I don't think I need more. I got full diamond gear, so that's good. I'm gonna probably make another pick. Because I have enough for it, because I don't want to waste this one. But yeah, it's fun. I'm gonna be probably building the pathway today later on. After I, you know, read a little bit here in a few, because I'm gonna finish my book before the new one comes, so I can start it tonight. So probably do some path work tonight. Well, that's Friday. I'm gonna actually do something else. It's Friday. It's date night. Go out to dates with your significant others. Talk about stuff that's not stressful, unless that's what you guys like to do. But yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna call it. It's a very fun stream. I like talking about stuff, especially coffee. I'll definitely talk about coffee more and more. But yeah, very fun. I really enjoy the server itself that I'm playing on. It's been a pretty interesting process to get it situated and stuff and playing on it. It's stable. I have Voxy built. I got to make sure that I don't have to install it on the server side, but it is client side right now. Right now there's not a lot going on. I think it's just like Fabric and Sodium and stuff that are all the mod side things. So I actually got to disconnect from the server before I get blown up. But yeah, fun times. Really enjoy just talking to myself for a long time until hopefully at some point someone's going to come in and actually sit and listen to me rant and, you know, not get insulted by, you know, my coffee snobness. But I try not to insult people. That's something that I want to do. You know, I don't want to, as Josh Clark and Chuck Bryant would say, is I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. I haven't listened to that podcast in forever. Stuff You Should Know is a really good podcast. I haven't listened to it in a long time. That was one of the things I used to listen to before I'd fall asleep. But it was during anxiety time, so what would end up happening is I would, when I put it on now, it just kind of takes me back to when I was full of anxiety. So, not sure how loud my music is. It looks like my volume, or me speaking, is well, let me switch it again. You might hear no, you won't hear the other one. Let me bring the whole music down a little bit. I might have to put a different one in for this one, but I'll decrease it for a second just so I can get an idea of what they are like between the two levels. So anyway, yeah, that's cool, man. That's pretty much it. I really enjoy talking for 2 hours, 3 hours. I could drink some water, my mouth is dry. So, but until next time, see you all later.